Hello students, welcome to Geography Form 1, and you are with me Harrison Soa as your subject teacher. So the first topic in Geography Form 1 is map work and map components. There are a number of things which are going to learn under these topics, and the first thing which you're going to learn is the term map. Another thing is the components of maps. We're also going to learn the difference between a map and an aerial photograph. And also we're going to explain the different uses of maps and explain ways of expressing scale. We're also going to learn the symbols and signs on a map. We're also going to interpret maps using different signs and symbols. We're also going to locate features and places on a topographic map using 4-figure and 6-figure grid reference. And we're also going to explain the compass point, and lastly we're going to look at the true north, magnetic north, and grid north. So let's begin by defining the term map. What is a map? So in simple terms, we can define a map as a drawing of representation of the Earth's surface drawn to a scale on a flat surface. So in other words, we're trying to say that a map can be drawn on a piece of paper, or in other ways can be drawn on a chalkboard. But that drawing is just a presentation of the earth is drawn to a scale. Now, usually a person who makes maps is called a cartographer. So we can say that someone else who draws map is referred to as a cartographer. So for you, if you'll be able to draw map, then you'll be referred to as a cartographer. Now, let's proceed by looking at the components of a map. In other words, we're trying to look at the parts of a map. So there are several components of the maps, and these includes the following. The first component is a scale. So a scale explains a ratio of the distance on the map to that on the actual ground. It explains the ratio of distance on the map to that on the actual ground. As we know that the earth is just huge, so we cannot represent, or we cannot draw the whole map on the paper, but we use the scale to express the distance on the map and on the actual ground. The other component of a map is a compass laws, or in other words, they say a compass direction. So what is a compass direction? A compass direction, in simple terms, we can say that it tells the direction of the map's cardinal points, such as north, south, east, and west. So usually you'll find that on the top you have the north, and down you have the south, and to the right you have the west, and to the east, to the left you have the east. So if you want to give a direction, you usually use the compass direction. The other component is the map title. So a map title tells us what the map is trying to represent. We're saying that a map title tells us what the map is trying to represent. So the map title, in other words, you can say that it tells what the map is trying to tell us, or what's the purpose of that particular map. So for example, we can have a map title to say political boundary or physical features. So in this theme, when looking at this map title, we'll be able to know that this map is all about political boundary. Or in other words, maybe this map is trying to illustrate some physical features. Let's proceed by looking at the other component of the map, and this is the frame. So the frame shows us the borders of the given map. It shows the borders of the given map. The other component is the symbols, So the symbol is a picture that represents something real in the word and is drawn to scale. I'll take it again. Symbols, it's a picture that represents something real in the word, in the world, and is drawn to scale. So you can have something else, for example, the vegetation, the trees, and these are the real pictures of the real thing which you have in the world. So on the map, you have something else or a picture which represents the vegetation, and that picture is always drawn to a scale. It means the scale which is drawn to that particular picture represents the real picture in the world. The other component is a legend or a key. So on the legend and key, we can say that this tells what the symbol in the map stands for. So if you want to know the meaning of the particular symbol, you just proceed to the key and the legend. So you have a symbol and its meaning. So you'll find these symbols on what? On the legend, on the key. And usually on the map, this legend is usually found at the bottom of the map. Now we're done looking at the components of the map. So let's proceed by looking at the differences between a map and an aerial photograph. A photograph. So the first point is we need to understand what is a photograph. So a photograph is an image or a picture created by a camera. So a photograph is that picture which is created by a camera. You know cameras. You have these cameras from the phones, and all the pictures which are captured by a camera is referred to as a photograph. While on the other hand, we're saying that a map is a drawing by a man to represent the earth's surface. A map is a drawing by a man to represent the earth's surface. A map can be drawn by a man using maybe a pencil, that is the hand. So what are the major differences between an aerial photograph and a map? Now, you have a table here, and on this table there is a map on the left and there is an aerial photograph. So the first difference is usually maps uses a uniform scale while an aerial photograph, it has no scale. So if you want to draw a map, you draw a map using a scale, while the photograph, you don't draw it using a scale. Number two, the map uses symbols to show features. It uses symbols to show features, while an aerial photograph, it shows the real image of features. So when you look at the map, you find that the features which are in the world, they're just presented using symbols. But on an aerial photograph, you find that the features of the world are presented with the real pictures. So for example, if you might have an aerial photograph where you took it at the background where there are vegetation, it means you have the pure vegetation, you have the tree maybe at that particular picture. That is in an aerial photograph. But when you look at the map, when you want to present vegetation, you use the symbols to present the vegetation. The other difference is that on a map, it shows only important features for use, while an aerial photograph, it shows everything as viewed by the camera. So in simple terms, we can say that on a map, if a cartographer can choose what to include on the map, and this depends on the purpose of the map. So if we're saying that this map is to present maybe the physical features, maybe mountains only, so you can only include the important features which will restrict the physical features on that particular map. But on an aerial photograph, the camera doesn't choose. It just took everything that has been viewed by the camera. The other difference is on a map, it is very easy to identify or interpret, while on an aerial photograph, the features are difficult to interpret. They may be hidden by other objects. So here we can say that because on the map you have the keys, you have the symbols, and because of that, they help the map readers to interpret, to say that what the purpose of this map. Now, so it becomes very easy to interpret the map or identify some features on a map rather than an aerial photograph, because some other objects on an aerial photograph may be hidden. Because of that hidden, it becomes difficult to interpret aerial photographs. The other difference is that maps can take a long time to draw, while photographs are very easy to take. I'll take it again. Maps are very easy. Maps takes long time to draw, while aerial photographs are very easy to take. Lastly, we're saying that maps may show names of places and boundaries, while only an aerial photograph does not show names and boundaries. That's it. So let's proceed by looking at the types of aerial photographs. So the first type of aerial photographs is oblique aerial photographs. So the question is, what is oblique aerial photograph? An aerial photograph, oblique aerial photograph, is where photographs are taken from a high ground or mountain. So you have a diagram here which illustrates an oblique aerial photographs. And usually, under these oblique aerial photographs, the pictures or the images which are taken close to the cameras, they look clear and they look bigger than the images which are taken far from the cameras. So here you have your camera here, as in placed and carried by the airplane. So This area is directly to the what? To the camera, and is close to the camera. And because of that, we're saying that the images will look bigger and clear than those images which are far from the camera. The other type of aerial photograph is vertical aerial photograph. And this vertical photograph was saying that it's where photographs are taken from above, overhead the structure or the reef, and no features may appear hidden. So this is overhead the structure and all the reef. So you have your reef here and the structures. So you have your camera here, your camera or the lens. So when you want to capture these images, it means that they will look clear and they will not be hidden because the images are taken directly overhead them. Now, we have looked at the two types of aerial photograph. So let's see the difference between aerial photograph and the satellite images. The differences between aerial photograph and the satellite images. Now, when we talk of aerial photographs, these are taken at low altitude, that is within the atmosphere, while the satellite images are taken at higher altitude within the Earth's orbit. So we can look here at the first difference to say that the main difference is altitude. So the aerial photographs are taken at the lower altitude, while the satellite images are taken at higher altitude. The other difference is that aerial photo is taken by camera placed on an airplane, while the satellite images are taken or are recorded by electronic scanners. And usually these electronic scanners are placed higher on the satellite. There is a note here which students need to understand and take note as in seriously. We're saying that the process of collecting information and about something from far with a physical contact is referred to as remote sensing. So this remote sensing is linked to with the satellite images. So we'll learn more about remote sensing when you get to Form 4, because there is a special topic in Form 4 which is all about remote sensing. We have looked at the differences between aerial photograph as well as satellite images. So let's proceed by looking at the advantages as well as disadvantages of aerial photographs and satellite images. So let's begin by looking at the advantages of satellite images. So the first advantage of satellite images is that they collect image data at high speed. They collect image data at high speed. They also capture a large volume of data within a short time. So it means that within a short period of time, we can have a lot of data. Satellite images can also capture data of image without being restricted by international political boundaries. So there is no restriction when you want to capture satellite images, because the satellites are placed in above the atmosphere, and because of that, these satellite images, they can take any of the images without restriction from the political boundaries. So what are some of the disadvantages of the satellite images? The first disadvantages of satellite images is that their images are of low quality than other photo images. They are of low quality than other photo images. So the problem with the low quality of images is that now it becomes very hard to interpret or to see what is really depicted on that particular image. The other disadvantage is that photographs may be affected by weather conditions such as clouds. So when there are clouds or there is bad weather, we can, or it is harder to have the satellite images. Well done, the disadvantages of satellite images. So let's proceed by looking at the disadvantages and advantages of aerial photographs. So advantages of photographs. The first advantage of photographs is that they contain better quality photographs than satellite images. So you have clear photographs on the aerial photographs, or the pictures are clear. You have the clear image of features on the aerial photographs. The other advantage is that weather conditions have a little impact on quality of photographs. So in other words, the weather has a little impacts, or the weather does not mostly infringe the quality of the photographs. What are the disadvantages? So some of the disadvantages are that the process is slow and time consuming. In other words, you need more time to have the aerial photographs, and also it is very slow to capture the features. Taking photos is often restricted within political boundaries. So in other words, when you are taking these aerial photographs, you are bound or you are restricted to political boundaries. In other words, you may have maybe a specific area which you may want to capture. It's not always that you can take the pictures anywhere or somehow or the way you want it. No, there may be some other procedures which you may need to follow to capture these aerial photographs. So this is its advantage, because some other areas may not be accessible to all people for some other reasons. So you need to take a note of that. Aerial photographs may be accessed through computer software programs such as Google Earth. So in order to access the aerial photographs, you need to have that software in your computer, Google Earth, so that you can read better the aerial photographs. So we're done looking at the aerial photographs. So let's proceed our lesson by looking at the types of maps. So there are different and many types of maps. So the first type of map is the physical or relief map. So what are we expecting to see or to find on this physical or relief map? So this physical map, usually it shows mountains, rivers, and lakes. So you have features of the world, and some of these features are the ones which were mentioned here, of mountains, rivers, and lakes. So usually when you find or you see these features on the maps, then it tells that this map is a physical or relief map. The other type of map is topographic map. So topographic map uses continuous lines in showing relief on the map. So you have the continuous, the lines, and these lines now are the ones which are used for showing the relief. And this relief now, we're referring to those physical features. So on a topographic map, you have the contours now illustrating or showing the physical features. So on the contours, you do not have the clear picture of a map, no, but you have the contours now, which shows the physical features. So different physical features on a topographic map will be shown or represented by the contour lines. The other type of map is the political boundary maps. So this political boundary map shows national and international boundaries of a map. So you have national, in nationals you can find the definition of maybe districts, you have it maybe regions as in for the nation. And for international you find uh, different division of countries, the demarcation of countries, that is the international boundaries. So the political map will show the demarcation of boundaries of different countries on the world map. The other type is the land use map. So this land use map, this shows activities undertaken by man such as farming, mining, and construction. So you know that the land is used by the man and is used by the man for different activities. And those activities that have been shown on the map, and those activities we can have examples such as map, farming, mining, and construction. So a land use map always shows the activities that are being carried out in a particular area by a man. And the other type of a map is distribution maps. So the distribution maps, these are distribution maps, it shows how things have spread over the earth or country, such as population, vegetation, and rainfall. Just an example. So this distribution maps will show that it will shows how things are spread on the earth, such as population. So for example, in terms of population, we can say that a distributive map can show that an area of high population density and maybe a moderate or sparse populated area. So you can find, or you can be able to see, or can able to tell that this area has high population and this area has sparse population for some other reasons. So this distribution maps will show that particular thing. Now, let's proceed this lesson by looking at the uses of maps. In other words, we're trying to see how important the maps are. So the first use of the map was saying that it's used for measuring and estimating distance on the actual ground. So you can have a map. In that particular map, you have the scale, and the scale was saying that this representation always shows the relationship between the distance on the ground, on the actual ground, and on that of the map. So map readers are able to tell the distance on the actual ground using that scale to say that if this distance is represented in this way on the map, then on the actual ground, it can be in this. So that is possible because there is maps. The other use of the maps is that it is used to locating places and features on the Earth's surface which assist travelers. As we were saying that the maps shows different features as well as places of the world. Now it is easier for people to tell a particular place or particular features because they're able to read the map. So people that are able to read about other places, even though they have not been there, just because they have the map or they're able to read the map. So in that way, we're seeing that the map are important for people because people are able to locate places as well as features which are found in the world. Maps also helps the shows patterns and distribution of people and things on the Earth's surface. So this one is also possible because the map shows the distribution of people, as in where exactly this may be the tribes of people are located, or what this group of people are doing in a particular region or in a particular area. So this is possible because the map will always illustrate or will portray such kind of patterns on the maps. Maps also helps by demarcating boundaries of different states, towns, and cities. So this is when you want not to divide the boundaries of the countries, you're able to use the map, and that becomes very easy. Maps are also used for calculating local times by using longitudes. So we're going to see how we can use longitudes to calculate time. Maps are also used for planning purposes as in an operation such as military buildings as well as mining. So for those who are in the military department, they're able to use or they use maps whenever they're locating different places. Now, we are done the uses of the map. Let's proceed by looking at the ways of expressing the scale. So there are a number of ways of expressing the scale. So the first way of expressing, or the first maybe before we proceed that, we need maybe to understand the term the scale. So in simple term, we can say that this is the ratio of the distance on the map to that corresponding on the actual ground represented by the map. So you have your map, and on the map you have the scale, and we're saying that that map is always drawn to a scale. So the scale which is that map drawn to will always correspond to that on the actual ground. So we need to see how the maps, how the scale is drawn to a scale, or the ways of how the map is drawn to a scale. The first one is representative fraction scale. The other one is linear or bar scale. And the last one is statement or verbal scale. So let's begin by looking at the representative fraction scale. So representative scale, this one uses a representative fraction to describe the ratio between the map and the real world. For example, you can have 1 to the ratio 50,000 or 1 over 50,000. So this would mean that 1 centimeter maybe represent 50 kilometers on the map. The other one is the linear or bar scale. So the linear bar scale, are saying that this one uses a line with separation marked by smaller distance. For example, you have this line, as you can see, there is 100 meters and then 500 meters and 0, and these are what as kilometers. So in other words, you're saying that this maybe first unit represent maybe 1 unit on this the actual ground. And lastly, you have the statement or verbal scale. So the verbal scale, this one uses a weight to describe the ratio between the map and the third map scale as well as the third word. So in simple terms, we're saying that the statement of verbal scale, it uses words to describe the ratio between the map scale and the third one. For example, you can say 1 centimeter represents 0.5 kilometers on the actual ground. So this one has been expressed in words. So you are expressing this scale using words. Now, now we are done by looking at these the ways of expressing the scale, and in the next lesson we're going to learn how to convert one form of scale to another. So if you have some materials, reading materials, you can read more on how to convert one form of scale to another. Thank you so much for your attention. Let's meet in the other lesson. Goodbye.